Photoshop or Lightroom today to kind of go over what does the main screen look like for Lightroom. And there's some neat things you can do when you get into Lightroom and you actually go through the whole process. So generally when you launch up Lightroom, this is what everything looks like. And you can change your views around. You can change your views to however you want your pictures to be, right? Or you can go for a single view and then however you want your picture to look. Right? You can star your picture, as you can see, or flag it, or delete it. Right? You can fit it to 100%, or fill, or however you want to approach it, and then use your mouse to drag up and down. We can go. I'm just going to go to just regular old 33%, so we can kind of see that a little bit better. But again, nice smoky picture, and then you can also see side by side if you want to. Right, on the whole thing. You can see before and after changes. In your alarms, you can see any kind of activity or anything else you've got cooking up. You can export from here, right? Export your custom settings, a JPEG, however you want, original, previous settings. You can go get and share a link if you want to send something through your sync where you have stuff in the cloud. You can invite people to edit the picture. You can share that edit. You can also get to help right from here, and then you can also cloud storage where you add. I've got mine paused for right now because for some reason I decided I wanted to sync everything that was in my pictures, and I didn't want that, so we don't want to do that at all, right? And then we've got the editing screen here. The editing screen is basically where you're going to do all your simple editing processes as you kind of go through. You can do your color processes if it was a color picture, your effects if you want to do effects. Right, and all the other things that you would do here. You can go ahead and crop your picture if you want to crop your picture. You can do the healing brush if you want to do the healing brush here, or you can also change this mode over to clone or heal. So that little down arrow is what's going to make this a lot easier for you as you kind of go through here. So if you need to do something, if you want to visualize where all your spots are, and this is actually really kind of handy if you want to know where your highlights are and where you need to do it and all the rest of it, and you can kind of bring out your threshold for however you want to take a look at your threshold, and that can be kind of an interesting screen cap on its own. You also have your brush, so you can do any kind of brush work that you want to do, change its size around to whatever you want, and then however you want to brush out your object. You use fine adjustments. You can do all the other things that you want to do with your brush. And you've got your gradients, so if you just want to do a section of a file, you can do a gradient, and you can change that around so it looks a little bit different. And then on that you can change how you want to do your exposure. If you wanted to change that around a little bit, and you can kind of see how we can swap around that exposure a little bit above and below the gradient. Or you can change your contrast around. So if you want to make it a little bit more contrasty, maybe bring her highlights out a little bit better, maybe dump some of those shadows out, bring out the little whites a little bit better, right? So that you can do all those things with your gradient. You can do gradients in any kind of shape, right? You can do that as a size. You can also undo your gradient. You can also do it as a brush. You've also got a circular gradient. So if you want to do a nice radial and grab it down, however you want to edit that and kind of turn her into a nice, vignette a little bit. And you can actually see where I did that really, really well here. Oops. Hit the escape button. If you ever boo-boo, just hit the escape button, right? And we want to bring this down to full size. You can actually see where I did that radial gradient here, and it's kind of a nice. You can kind of see it right here on the details with the beach, but you can see how that radial gradient worked on that one, right? And then some more. You can copy edit pages. Choose settings to copy. So the copying settings is really handy. You can also show the original if there's an original in there. So if we wanted to go back and we wanted to see what she did, we could actually show what the original was before we made any changes to it, and kind of see if you want to go back and see how your changes look. So you can flip back and forth. Then reset all your edits. You can turn them all off. Right, and then show histogram. So some people really like the histogram. You can kind of see how that looks and how you want to do that. So again, all the neat things are here, single panel. You can also edit in Photoshop from here if you want to. The other part too is you can actually go through and see what kind of versions you've got, if you have more than one version of this. And then turn around, and if you want to, you can actually work with your presets, right? So again, color, creative, if you want to do something different, you could literally drag it through and kind of go, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting, and see if there's a preset here that will work for you for whatever picture you've got. You can do some black and white work if you want to just try that out a little bit. Again, so there's all sorts of different inbuilt presets on this. If you wanted to like do grain, I'm not a big fan of grain. Optics, if you've got to do certain kinds of corrections for it. If you want to sharpen, you know, that picture, if you are into sharpening, if you want to do a vignette. Again, this picture being so dark and moody, a vignette really won't do anything for you. And then the other thing too is user presets, right? And this is really kind of interesting because you can actually bring in all your presets if you wanted to, just by literally importing your presets, right? So if you go to presets, you can go ahead and just import them in, right, through that whole process. So you can also bring in any other kind of things that you want to do from that, and this looks however you want it to look. Right, so that's kind of that whole process there in terms of how that works. And again, let me show you how to import that though. So if you want to go up to the three buttons here, you go import presets, and it will actually take the zip file, and we'll do Bow Kitchen, right? So I'll import that, and what ends up happening, we go one was done. So we go to user presets, and we want to find our bow one here. He's around here somewhere. But we were able to bring in that one. Yeah, not seeing it. Maybe presets, back to life bow. There we go. There's my bow preset. So he is part of that set. So again, different kinds of sets, right? Depending on what you do and what you want to bring in. But again, these are real simple to bring in, and you can find presets at Adobe. Just about everybody makes some kind of preset when it comes to this. So if you do, you could literally make a collection of presets, fairly simple all the way through doing this. But that's basically the walkthrough of the Lightroom screen here and how you would do things. And a little bit later we'll show you how to actually go through and edit a file so that it's something you can actually work with and take a look at, so you can actually pull down what you want it to do and how you want it to look. You know, this one's been pretty color saturated. This one's been pretty color saturated. This one's pretty normal, right? Even though if it's a bicycle through a stick with a seagull. You know, again, you can do all those different things as you go through it, and we'll cover how to do that in a different video. But that's basically your walkthrough of your Lightroom screen. Everything's about where you want it and expect it to be, but everything is on a right-hand control instead of a left-hand control. Right, and you can do all the things that you would otherwise have normally done, including tracking your keywords and all the other things that you would do with it, your keyword matching. So all the things that you would normally do, this is where it is all at, and you can see all kind of comments or just however you wanted to go about doing this. Making it fit, making it not fit, and you can see, wow, that's some like really bad gradient work there. But again, just feel free to go through and just click buttons while you're there. Thanks much for watching, and we'll be doing more Adobe Creative Cloud videos as we go through the series. Thank you much.